The last 4 years have been nothing short of chaotic. But for those who grabbed the bull by the horns and acted fast, they've been the most profitable years of their lives. 2025, in my opinion, is the last year of this rapid growth era, and how you enter 2026 could define your financial future. If you don't take action now, then you risk falling into the trap of stagnation. Build, implement, and execute your plans by the first quarter of this year, because a window to grow is closing very fast. Welcome back to another episode of the Finance Bible podcast. You're joined with myself, Zeke,
and your co-host, Oscar. But before we get into it, please note that nothing in this podcast should ever be considered as personal financial advice.
But if that is what you are seeking, get in touch, let us know, and we will hook you up with the correct professionals.
Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Let's get into it. In today's episode, we're going to be covering pretty much what's happened in the last few years and what next year holds. Everyone towards the end of the year comes in, they're like, okay, new year, new me, 2025 is going to be the year to do this, to do that, blah, blah, blah. But 2025 is actually, in my opinion, probably the most pivotal year in my lifetime, and probably a lot of people out there's lifetime, pending your age, of course, and I'm not a genius, I don't know what's to come. I can't predict the future. However, let's talk about the last couple of years. 2020, COVID. So, huge economic impact. Global stimulus was about 15, 16 trillion, which drove massive liquidity into the markets. Your stock markets reached, they had an initial dip where people could take advantage of that. For example, myself, I was very young at that point in time, took advantage of it, realised what was going to happen. The GFC is a clear example. Sold out of all my shares, bang, threw back in when it reached a low. They went down quite drastically from March in 2020, and then they ended up about 70% by the end of 21, early 22. What happened there was you could actually take advantage of that and realise what was going to happen. It was going to go down. It was always going to crash. It's common sense. So pull out, it starts going up again, you see a bit of confidence, or you know that we're at a point where, okay, it's not the end of the world, which, personally speaking, COVID, if it was going to get me sick and kill me, then it was going to pretty much get everyone sick and kill everyone, and it would have been the end of the world anyway. So as soon as I started seeing people get COVID and survive without the vaccine and that kind of thing, it was pretty clear what was going to happen. We were going to live, and the markets will have gone up at some point in time, whether it was in the next 6 months, 12 months, 18 months. I couldn't be certain on that, but took that risk and invested. Again, made quite good amounts of money in there, and that's how a lot of people did it at that point in time. A lot of people took advantage of that, and it was the exact same with crypto, Bitcoin. It was sitting at 7K in early 2020, and now it's up at 100K. So and that's in US dollars as well. Bitcoin was something that you could really take advantage of. I think it was about 7K and went up to close to 70K within that 1.5 year period that I was speaking about with stocks, your early 2020 through to the end of 21. So again, created multiple millionaires, multiple people, hundreds of thousands. They leveraged into property, and then we know what property did as well. Speaking of which, house prices. 2020 through to 2021, again, March to end of year, give or take. 30% growth nearly, 29% give or take. So, and you had record low interest rates, which meant pretty much everyone could afford to leverage into property. If you were in a position where you knew what was going to happen and you let history be a guide, you knew that you could take advantage of stocks because they're quick, they're more liquid. And then what was going to happen was the same thing with property. Bit slower, they're not as liquid. So you've got the time then to analyse one and jump into the other and go ahead like that. You had meme stocks as well, which were people lost a lot of money, made a lot of money. It was quite a difficult one to get into, if you didn't know exactly what was going on. So I won't dive too far into that. GameStop rose 1,700% or something in 2021. And then you had all the NFTs and that as well. But they're not. There's not really a track record for them. They're harder to predict what's going to happen. So I didn't personally jump on board with any of that. Long story short, volatility equals opportunity. So in the chaos, there's always opportunity. It's the greatest thing in the world. When we're in a tumultuous world like that, if you move fast, it's life changing. And the sad thing is, the conditions aren't going to last forever. We're now moving into 2025, which is a turning point, in my opinion. The last 4 years of growth that we've seen and how quick and easy it was to make money is slowly shifting. And towards the end of this, well, I'm recording this literally 6 hours before the new year. Um, so I'm going to talk as if it is 2025 right now, because you'll probably be listening in 2025. But towards the end of this year, it's going to be really difficult to continue to make the money that's been getting made. I do think this is the last year, the last bit of opportunity to grab that bull by the horns and take it and ride that the whole way through to fortune. So you've got economic stability returning. Inflation rates have started stabilizing globally. Banks are aggressively um, easing the rate hikes. We don't think that we'll see any more rate hikes, to be honest. We'll start seeing them to come down, meaning that markets are less volatile. There's a shift to normal conditions, which limits growth. Ideally, if we're in a normal, stable world, then it is just stagnant. There's nothing going on. It's very difficult to make the kinds of money that have been getting made. Opportunities will dwindle. So with fewer disruptions or speculative opportunities, like the stocks doing what they're doing and the crypto doing what they're doing, it's going to become rare. You can't just jump on board and win. And housing affordability is, I mean, it's technically improving because the interest rates are coming back a little bit, but it's kind of stabilizing the growth. Like there will be growth moving forward in property. That's common sense. It's always going to happen. But we're not going to be seeing the 30% that we saw in the 18 months from 2020 to 2021, well, the end of 21. So we're moving into a new era. 2025 marks the end of the previous era, which I'm going to call the growth era. And the next phase won't be about catching waves, but building steady, sustainable wealth. It's going to be figuring out how to build wealth in a more stable environment. So it might be a bit slower, and there's going to be higher competition with less opportunity. So this is the year where you really need to take advantage of getting things together, implementing them. And I genuinely think how you finish this year is how you're going to start 2026, common sense, that one. But how you start 2026, I think, is going to be how you remain for quite a while until whatever the next event is. I'm not saying that if you're not a millionaire by the end of this year, that you won't be by the end of 2028. I mean, if you don't have things implemented, you haven't set up changes, you haven't moved, then you're going to stay in that kind of stagnant pattern until the next event where you've got the opportunity to take action. If you set things up this year and you start implementing changes, you get things together and try to start building wealth, it will be slow and steady. I mean, this year still holds a bit of opportunity, but it marks the end of it. If you set up now and you take advantage of that and you're growing in 2025, then you'll continue growing in 26 and 27 and 28. That's what I mean by um, how you start 26 is how you'll remain. So you'll either start it on a roll getting things done or you won't, and that's how it's going to remain. So there's a bit of a first quarter challenge that you're going to get with 2025. So Q1, quarter one, is critical because we still got a bit of growth happening in this first couple of months. And you can build that momentum to then have Q2, Q3, Q4 continue where the market will likely adjust to slower growth. So you can get yourself in a good position, get everything set up, and let it roll, if that makes sense. Let it have the snowball effect. If you don't have your strategy implemented by March, you risk losing the steam before you even start. you might not get on that role, and it's going to be more difficult the longer you wait now. What do you need to do in quarter 1 of 2025? Firstly, review your financial position. Are you ready to invest? Are you ready to expand? Or are you ready to consolidate? What do you actually have as your goals and deadlines for execution by March 31? So this quarter is all about figuring out what you're doing. In fact, I'd probably say January is figuring out what you're doing, what you can do, what you want to do, and setting your clear goals with a deadline of March 31. And then February, March is implementing, getting it all done, setting everything up, and making the changes you wish to make. So if you, for example, have a bunch of properties, or you've got, a mortgage and a house and whatever, you're stuck in a position where you can't do anything, then it's time to think, okay, well, what changes can I make to enable me to improve? Like, where can I actually find these opportunities? Are you downsizing? Are you moving to a different area? Are you taking a risk and creating a business? Like, what are you doing? And these are things that you need to think and figure out for yourself. It could even be as simple as investing in education or resources that'll prepare you for the year ahead. So just lock in and get ready. Areas for action: you've got property investment, you've got business, and you've got personal finance. So looking at locking in deals before the interest rates have any changes. So figure things out about that. Business growth, as in scale operations or create a business and get the operations ready to scale, or implement new revenue streams, or whatever. Even in your personal world, you can implement new revenue streams and figure out different ways to generate income. And then for personal finance, it's literally simple as reduce debt, find a way to change your debt, and build liquidity for the next opportunity if you're not in a position where you can do anything. But I strongly believe everyone is in a position to do something. You could be mortgaged up to your throat and struggling to breathe, you're gasping for air like you're drowning. And there's still a way you can find more revenue streams. There's always a way to make money if you try hard enough. If you end up in a position where you do nothing, 2025 goes by, you start doing the exact same thing as today, everything's terrible, you think you're never going to make it, or you're never going to be able to get out of it, or whatever, then do the best you can in terms of sorting out your personal life and your personal finances, reducing your debt and that kind of thing, training skills, getting everything ready. AI is something to take advantage of. Get real into learning how to take advantage of AI and technology so that you can prepare for the quickness, how fast you react to the next event. Because your speed of implementation on the next event, if you fail to do anything this time, will be make or break, especially in your late years. Like if you're young, yeah, sure, it's not extremely vital. Although, for example, I have a younger sister who's fresh 18, and I'm going to be pestering her like an absolute animal to get her to learn certain skills and take advantage of certain things and put herself in a position where you can kickstart her wealth journey, because the longer you wait, the harder it gets, especially in today's world. So the next big wealth event will come. I don't know what it's going to be, don't know when it's going to be, but it will come. It's common sense. You've had GFC, you've had COVID, you've had wars, blah, blah, blah. Something else is going to happen at some point in time, and we need to be ready. So we need to prepare. You need to have liquid funds or adaptable plans, or just be in a position where you're not tired, where you can just go bang, done, like quick, and get into it, take advantage of it. You need to prepare beforehand. Like you can't just quickly react. Like for myself, if I wasn't in a position where I had the savings or I had the shares or whatever, and I wasn't already actively working on things, then I wouldn't have been able to do what I did. And it's probably the same for everyone out there. So prepare, get things in order. Whether it's building emergency funds or having liquidity reserves, or just staying educated on global trends like AI, or networking with professionals who can actually help when opportunities arise. But you need to prepare. And then when that thing comes, you need to sit down and you need to go, okay, here it is. What's going to happen? What has history taught us? What did I learn during COVID? What did I learn during the GFC? What can I go and read about that will teach me how things will change? So do that to learn about the stocks, to learn about property, to learn about interest rates, inflation, and the economy. From there, common sense will apply. You can go, okay, well, what things are going to be in demand and what businesses is there to create on the back of this? When that happens, like, for example, imagine if you were quick enough, which, funnily enough, I know someone who actually was quick enough and smart enough to go and manufacture and produce masks, like your COVID face mask. The level of money that could be made in that, because the governments were pushing it so heavily, simple. Hand sanitizer, simple. So many different things you could go and produce and post, or even just general PPE, like personal protective equipment, could have made so much money during COVID. And then off the back of COVID, you had lockdowns, which meant people they couldn't travel, they couldn't go to work. So your Zooms of the world, your DocuSigns, Adobe, there's so many different things, and technology as a whole took off. And then you've obviously got AI coming in now, and you had copywriting, you've got marketing, you've got social media management, all of these different things that are just huge. Mostly off the back of COVID. They were all going to get there anyway, but mostly off the back of COVID. So when that happens, figure out what you can take advantage of. 2025, you really need to just commit. Commit to taking action. This is the year to move. No excuses, no procrastination. What you do today will determine how you live in 2026 and beyond. Don't rely on that next event. That might not come until 2030. So what do you do for the next 14, 15 years after that, up until that? Could you just sit there and wait? Continue doing what you're doing, stuck in the mundane, 9 to 5, struggling? Or do you take action and do things? Accountability is everything. You need to set monthly goals, and you need to review them and progress consistently. You need to share your goals with friends or mentors or family or coaches, whatever, for accountability. I literally sit down every single day at the end of the day with ChatGPT and say, here's my goals for today. Well, there was a day where I started first, obviously. You got to do a day to set it up. Hey, here are my goals for tomorrow, blah, blah, blah. And then at the end of the night, the next day, hey, chat, here's what I've done. What did I miss? Rip into me, roast me, blah, 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 blah. Here's what I'm going to do tomorrow. And it will help you come up with things you need to do tomorrow based on what you've done today and what your goals were. So then you can sit down and go the next day, hey, chat, here's what I did today, as we spoke yesterday, blah, 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 blah. And every single day I do that at night time. I'll have a full-blown conversation with ChatGPT and talk about what I have done, what I haven't done, what I need to do. And all of this is based on goals that I've spoken to it about for, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months. And then we just break them down week by week, month by month, year by year, and day by day. So it is that simple. Think beyond 2025 as well. Like, how will the actions you take today set you up for the future, for the next decade? How will it set up your children? What impact will it have on them? And you need to think about all these different things. 2025 is the most pivotal year that you will have if you didn't take advantage of 2020 through to 2024. It's as simple as that. So the past 4 years have been a time of incredible wealth creation, like outrageous, but the window's closing. 2024 is your last chance to act before the market stabilizes and growth slows. Build your strategy, implement it by the end of Q1, and prepare for the future. If you guys found value in this episode, share it with your friends, family, colleagues, whoever you think will appreciate it and learn from it. And let's boost everyone's wealth together. Don't forget to leave a review and subscribe to the Finance Bible. Your support helps us keep bringing valuable insights to help you on your financial journey. Until next time, keep taking action and chasing goals. As always, we hope you enjoyed the episode, and if you did, you know exactly what needs to be done.
Hit that follow button, subscribe, share it to friends, family, or even your co-workers, as sharing this podcast helps not just us, but everyone in the world to learn about their finances.
Thank you, Dale.